For many people, myself included, Korea is a fascinating place. Seoul is a true metropolis with a unified metro system and all the amenities of a western city at a fraction of the cost. Today I want to talk about the wider political environment that this capital city operates in, because it is far from typical. I'll be talking more about Korea, including Seoul's metro system, in the near future, so stay tuned. The political situation on the Korean peninsula at large is by no means simple. On the one hand, there is a government in the north proclaiming Juche as their primary ideology, with an almost hereditary Marxist leadership. On the other hand, there is a government in the south which embraced democracy after decades of dictatorial rule, which has a highly capitalistic and market-driven economic system under its belt. As you may expect from a situation like this, both governments claim the entire peninsula as their rightful territory. The process for these two states to have any kind of bilateral relations has taken decades, but it has been done. So the question becomes, how has it been obtained? The Ministry of Unification as it exists today came into being in 1989 during the administration of Tae-woo, who had a policy of engagement with the socialist bloc known as Nordpolitik. Prior to this administration, the ministry wasn't an independent agency, and the records are spotty, to say the least. This policy was put forward as a way to engage with the North through indirect means, usually through the USSR or China, with the eventual hope that it would lead to some sort of opening up. Indeed, the North Korean government agreed to start cultural and humanitarian cooperation in 1990. Both Korean states were admitted to the United Nations as full members in 1992. The Ministry of Unification building today is located in central Seoul, and the ministry can be said to have several primary responsibilities. Firstly, establishing policy related to North Korea, coordinating inter-Korean dialogue such as arranging high-level meetings, pursuing inter-Korean cooperation, as well as educating the public on reunification issues and North Korea generally. The ministry over the decades has had a number of changes in scope, but these tenets generally hold true and are reflected in the actionable positions which we will get into in just a minute. The Sunshine Policy, which existed first from the late 1990s to 2010, can be seen as a period where the Ministry of Unification was at its greatest extent organizationally. This policy, in very simple terms, was formulated on the idea that providing more direct engagement with the North through areas like inter-Korean economic cooperation, cultural exchange, and humanitarian aid could enable a smoother relationship. This Sunshine Policy is one of the reasons why South Koreans could travel up north to Mount Kumgang from 1998 to 2009, visiting an area which is less than 100 kilometers from a demilitarized zone. Tour operations allegedly didn't use either North or South Korean currencies, but instead used the US dollar and Chinese RMB. It was during this period of relative openness that the Kaesong Industrial Complex was founded. It operated from 2002 until early 2013. The KIC was a prime example of inter-Korean economic partnership. At its height, the region saw almost 54,000 people employed, primarily North Koreans, with just over 100 South Korean companies entering in on the venture. Although it was closed in 2013, the current president Moon Jae-in has expressed a desire to re-examine the project. Due to South Korea claiming the entire peninsula as their territory, the Ministry of Unification has created a mechanism to deal with persons from North Korea who enter the South. They have set up the Hanawan Center to help ease North Koreans into what life in the South is like. As I understand it, North Koreans are given help with setting up bank cards, doctor's appointments, and among other things, South Korean dialect training. The first 3 months are a kind of crash course. After that 3-month period, there's a financial compensation component and a subsidized housing program to help them pay for rent and basic necessities. There are also NGOs like Sejowi who help with job training and social integration after their time in Hanawan. You may be as surprised as I was to find out that trains, ships, and other vehicles do cross between the north and south. The ministry offers yearly numbers, and there seems to be a lot more traffic going south to north than the other way around. The fact that it occurs at all, though, given the circumstances and increasing, tension, suggests to me that the ministry is helping bring some kind of inter-Korean cooperation. As we can see with this diagram, the ministry also has a proposal for 2 pan-Korean economic belts, one on either sea. These 2 proposed economic belts, combined with the Moon Jae-in administration expressing a desire to reopen the Kaesong industrial complex, seems to suggest a plan of gradual opening up with the North, rather than some sort of rapid integration a la East and West Germany. What did you think about this ministry, and what do you think about Korean reunification as a whole? What other ministries or government organizations do you think I should cover? If you liked today's content and made it this far, I implore you to not just leave a comment and like on this video, but to check out my other content as well. I make videos on everything from government organizations to urban planning. I hope that what I do with these videos can help introduce people to a world of government and an aspect of government that they may not have realized existed before.